So as we journey into the season of Easter, I'm reminded of the traditional Easter phrase, Christ is risen, he is risen indeed. I spent some time thinking about what this phrase means to me and what this phrase might mean to our community and into our larger communities as well. Many churches on Easter Sunday read from the Gospel of Mark this year. And it speaks about the women approaching the tomb to play homage or respect to Jesus, to anoint his body. And they are wondering to themselves, how are we going to roll the stone away, or who are we going to get to roll the stone away for us? How are we going to get rid of this barrier that separates us from Christ? This got me thinking a little bit about my life and the barriers that I have felt like I've been experiencing over the last year especially. Those barriers that seem to be blocking me from God, from my friends, from neighbors, from residents. I thought about the barriers, especially this last year with restrictions from COVID-19. Things like wearing masks or having restrictions with visitors for residents. And so I was wondering, how do we remove these barriers, or what is God's response to this? Well, as the women approached the tomb, lo and behold, that stone is rolled away. They didn't have to search for somebody to do it. They didn't have to do it themselves. The barrier had been removed. That reminds me and encourages me, especially this Easter season, that those barriers that we are experiencing in our lives, barriers that we experience as individuals, barriers we are experiencing as a community, Christ is not content with those being there and separating us from his joy and from his goodness, from his life, from his resurrection. I think what God is doing is removing these barriers, removing these stones, rolling these things out of our lives so that we can experience his joy. We can experience his life. We can experience his resurrection. As I think about ways that this is already transpiring here in our community, I think about the gifts of residents sharing their own joy and their own wisdom and their own experiences with me and with other staff members, building and fostering relationships in communities. I think about colleagues and other staff members who have gone way above and beyond this last year to pick up slack and to pick up, in many cases, additional shifts and additional hours to make our community function. I think about the churches in our area supporting us, helping us, lifting us up in prayers to support us through this troubled time. I'm reminded and encouraged that God is not content with these barriers. Part of the Easter message for me this year is that the resurrected Christ is removing these barriers and will continue to remove these barriers so that we will experience life and joy and resurrection as we experience the risen Christ.